Welcome to day 2 of 8 days of Mind, Body, Calm Mindfulness with Bren Murphy. Today we're starting straight away, and we're starting by bringing our awareness to the physical sensations in your body. That means your skin, your butt on the chair, your feet on the floor. Can you shuffle your feet a little so they are evenly spaced, balanced, shoulder width apart, with your toes pointing forward and the whole of your foot gently resting on the floor surface? Can you go inside your shoes and actually feel your feet? The soles of your feet on the inside of your shoes, pressing down with the weight of your legs. And now bringing your attention back to your breath with an inhale, opening the flower of your heart so that your shoulders branch backwards like wings, extending out from your shoulders, and you feel that natural lift of your wings holding you up, and your stomach lifts a little, and you can tuck in your belly on top of your hips. You feel taller and straight and open, and your attention gently returns to your breath. On the inhale, flowering outward, your wings grow a little each time. And on the exhale, deflating, releasing, and letting go. The breath cools and calms your body. On the inhale, breathing inward to fill your lungs. And the exhale, releasing and letting go. Gently balancing our attention on the breath. We'll stay here for a further minute or so, and I'll bring you back with the singing of the bell. How does that feel? Certainly a different introduction to mindfulness this second day, wasn't it? I wanted to share with you the actual specifics of how you introduce the state of mindfulness, and how they're not nearly as important as the spirit or the general gist of the practice. So I thought it was really important to break it down right here, so you don't become too attached to any specific way of going into mindfulness. It's a good guide, good preference is to take different routes each time so that you don't rely on one single way. So you might have noticed that introduction, we used awareness of our body, focusing on our feet and our shoulders, using big muscle groups, big shoulders, big feet, big parts of your body. Give a global awareness really quickly, like your breath. It's really helpful to have some physical tethers to guide you along. And that's the image I've used here, is of the tether. Our mindfulness practice is like walking upwards along the cliff edge, and each tether gives us another reference point or another place to latch onto, so we don't get lost in our thought. So each time we're on this tether, then our mind will wander, and then we return to the next tether, and our mind wanders and we return to this tether. That's the gist of having tethers. I think it's really helpful. And we also use body cues as ways to bring our attention to our body, as a way to approach attention to the breath. And as our body is another physical thing that is always with us, it's really convenient basically to use it as a reference point each time we enter mindfulness. So as we move away from existing fully in autopilot or in a default setting, or following our thoughts, thought after thought, or living in our mind, we come to physical things like, so far we've been on our breath on day 1, and now in day 2 we've done our body. So they're two physical components that grant easy access to mindfulness. So, the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that your mind wanders over and again. If you've done mindfulness exercise yesterday and you've come in today, you'll no doubt be in the middle of learning the biggest thing about mindfulness for beginners, and that is coming to terms with your wandering mind. And the reality is it happens. It just happens, okay? Your mind wanders. It's part of our makeup. Part of our human condition is the natural tendency for our mind to wander and process things. One good thing was the idea of a cow, how they chew grass and they take it into one of their stomachs, then they bring it back up and chew it again. They ruminate on it, and then they send it back down to the next stomach to break down the cellulose, like it's a really hard material to digest. And that's an idea we use with our thinking, is we bring things back up from the past to reprocess them, thinking that we'll make progress, or we'll have a breakthrough, or things will be different if we reprocess an old event in our mind. So it's as though the best way to process things is to endlessly go from one thought to the next, touching it, picking it up, reshaping it, reprocessing it, as though there will be a different outcome merely by rethinking it. And of course, sometimes it does work, okay? Sometimes having a night to think things over, or how people mull things over, they do come up with a new insight or a new angle on it, and it is successful and it's a breakthrough. But on the whole, with events from your past, rethinking them and rehashing them and going over them again, night after night, a decade afterwards, or months after the event, does not help. It doesn't offer a new insight or a new way to break through. Rethinking and overthinking can just as easily not offer a way forward and leave you lost in a seemingly endless spiral of thinking and reassessing and overdoing the thought side of things, to the point that you actually become anxious, stressed, and frozen in a state of inactivity. You're so busy thinking and processing all that you're physically just lying there, in the fetal position, rocking back and forth. We come to believe that thinking about something is a version of taking action on it, when it actually isn't. There's no action in that. It's just ruminating. It's just going over and rehashing it. and we become compulsive worriers. And it doesn't help at all. What happens is that we release stress hormones, and our physical body shows the signs of the mental distress and agitation as though we were actually experiencing it in real life. So the things we're thinking about, like that past distressing event, from our thoughts, our body goes back into that state, and we become stressed, we become anxious, we become nervous. We have the adrenaline, the cortisol, butterflies in your stomach, rapid heartbeat, sweating, palpitations, things like that, just from the thoughts, which is not helpful. So we're charged, we're triggered, we're in an elevated state just from thinking about something that we can't actually do anything about in this present moment. Okay? So that childhood event, or the divorce from a decade ago, or that episode that you're healing from, you cannot do anything about it in the present moment now. So for you to be ruminating on it and endlessly thinking and reassessing it and getting into a state and being triggered is not helpful. It just is toxic for your body. And that's how we become anxious or worried or stressed, when we stay in that state overly long, or we just actually live in that state our whole life. So when I ask you to drop into mindfulness for a few minutes, this is what happens. Your brain, which is so used to racing from one thought to the next, and then to the next, and then to the next, or even just being in that hyper-aware, hyper-vigilant state of half-stressed or need to respond to a threat, your mind just stops in its tracks and says, "You what? Yeah, what?" Your mind goes, "What? You want me to stop doing this? What else isn't there? Isn't any other way to be?" That's the awareness we're breaking through right now, thinking that there actually is another way to be, realizing there's an alternative, and going, so it does rock your world, it does rock your awareness, because you're actually cracking what has protected you and helped you prepare and helped you be open and one step ahead in arguments and be one step ahead at meetings your whole life. And now you're saying there might be another way. So it's the ground shudders. So it rocks the foundations. So your mind says, if I stop and be in mindfulness, won't I be unprepared? Won't I be vulnerable? Won't I be half asleep next time I'm in a meeting? Or if there's a confrontation, won't I be slow? Or how will I switch on or come get with it? And then when that does happen, won't I be defeated or look like an idiot or a fool because I can't respond, because I'm not prepared, I'm not ready to spring into action? So what do you think? The goal of mindfulness is not to clear the mind of thoughts. Okay? So you can relax. That's not the goal. The goal is always, and this never changes no matter how far you progress along your mindfulness journey, or how enlightened or spiritually aware you become, the goal is always just to observe your thoughts. So to be, a beautiful analogy I heard was like a security video camera in the corner of the room, looking down on your thoughts and just going, oh, at the moment I'm feeling nervous because I have a presentation to do, and just observe that and go, I'm feeling nervous. Okay, what does nervous feel? And confront or address that observation with a playful curiosity. Go, what does that feel like? What does anxiety feel like to me? And as soon as you go into the observer role, that's a metacognitive state, and you're out of the state because you're observing it, right? So we go into this playful curiosity, and playful curiosity is like a puppy. So puppies are playful and curious, or a kitten. They walk over and knock things over and play with it because they don't know how it works or what it is. It's a beautiful state to be in because you're curious. You're not jaded. You're not over it. You're still playful and you're curious. But also knowing that we can't clear the mind of thoughts, and that our mind will wander, and we will return to seeking the gap in between our thoughts. We'll have a sense of patient self-acceptance. We accept ourselves patiently, that we're not perfect, that we're not, part of this journey is not getting there immediately. This is a lifelong journey really, and it makes incremental steps of progress. Another part is a gentle reminder. Each time your mind wanders, it's a gentle reminder to come back to your breath, come back to your body, come back to the space. You're gently scooping your thoughts, like moving one fish from one pond to another. You scoop the fish up, plonk it in the other pond, and it will swim back over. Then you scoop it up, plonk it over. It'll swim back, scoop it up, plonk it over. And when you're holding the fish, you're in that in-between thought. Another one is gracefully reposition your attention. So they're these beautiful, delicate, gentle words to bring your thought, your attention, your focus back to your breath. So when your mind wanders, we treat it like a curious child, or a playful kitten, or a cheeky monkey. So here it is, meet your monkey mind. Jumping around, hands in the air, scratching, loping around, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different states, pretty much one after the other. That's your monkey mind. And even calling it a monkey mind gives it that playful curiosity, gives it a lightness, doesn't make it into a bad or an evil, doesn't give it a judgment or a comparison. It's just a monkey mind as it is. And monkeys by their very nature are cheeky, mischievous, curious, playful, pushing the boundaries and things. So you're aware of that, and with that that self-acceptance up here, with that playful curiosity of your monkey mind and this patient self-acceptance, you can gently remind yourself that it's just a cheeky monkey. Bring your attention back. Bring your focus back. It's not about controlling your thoughts or controlling your mind. Don't try to gain control. It's not a battle. It's not a war. It's not a confrontation. Just give your attention when your mind wanders and gently come back to your breath. When we wander, we pause. We don't get frustrated or impatient or mad at ourselves. We just gently return to the breath. Thank you for today. I'll see you tomorrow for day 3. My name's Bren Murphy from Mind Body Calm.